Hello, welcome to Levant TV Headlines. Iraq's Defence Minister Khaled al-Obeidi has criticized the United States for declaring a time frame for an offensive to recapture al-Mosul, saying military commanders should not show their hand to the enemy. An Egyptian court has sentenced Alaa Abdel Fattah, a leading dissident during the country's 2011 uprising, to 5 years in prison over an illegal protest. New Pentagon Chief Ashton Carter is due to hold talks in Kuwait with top US commanders and diplomats to discuss the war effort against the Islamic State jihadist group. Yemen's President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi has demanded talks on the country's political crisis be moved from Sana'a after he escaped house arrest in the militia-controlled capital. And France has deployed an aircraft carrier in the Gulf as part of the US-led military campaign against the Islamic State jihadist group in Iraq. Now let's have a look at top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. Starting from the Lebanon, the Daily Star is reporting that Interior Minister Nuhad al-Mashnou says the country will soon receive the first shipment of weapons financed through a $1 billion Saudi grant. The paper also reports that Public Works and Transport Minister Ghazi Zaitar Monday said he is seeking to improve Beirut's international airport after a recent health scandal over its storage warehouse. From the UAE, the Khalij Times is reporting that residents of Torch Tower in Dubai, even though not all of them, have returned home after a fire ripped through the 79-story building. The paper also reports that almost 600 Turkish troops pushed deep into Syria early on Sunday in an unprecedented incursion, evacuating Turkish soldiers guarding a historic tomb who had been stranded in territory controlled by Daesh terrorist group. The Egypt Independent leads reporting that the trial involving Al Jazeera's journalist Canadian national Mohammed Fahmy and Egyptian national Baher Mohammed has been postponed to March the 8th. The paper also reports that Prime Minister Ibrahim Malib, along with the Interior Minister and the Director of the Recruitment Department of the Armed Forces, met with representatives from the Egyptian Female Soldiers Campaign who called for the recruitment of women in the Egyptian Armed Forces. Now let's have a look at papers here in London. The Telegraph leads Middle East news section reporting that US-led airstrikes against the Islamic State in Syria have killed more than 1,600 people, mainly jihadists, since they began 5 months ago. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said almost all of those killed were jihadists from ISIS and Al-Qaeda's Syrian affiliate Al-Nusra Front, though it also documented the death of 62 civilians. The Independent leads Middle East news reporting that a senior Kurdish official says Islamic State is still receiving significant financial support from Arab sympathizers outside Iraq and Syria, enabling it to expand its war effort. Fuad Hussein, the chief of staff of the Kurdish president Masoud Barzani, did not identify the states from which the funding for ISIS comes today, but implied that they were the same Gulf oil states that financed Sunni Arab rebels in Iraq and Syria in the past. And in The Guardian's Middle East news, a section reporting that students at the Bethnal Green Academy in London, the school attended by the 3 London girls feared to be on their way to Syria to join Islamic State militants, have returned to class as the fate of their missing friends remained unknown. Students and parents expressed their shock at the news that Amira Abbasi, Shamina Begum and Kadisa Sultana had travelled from Gatwick to Istanbul in Turkey and were believed to be heading towards ISIS-held territory. And now international papers. From Germany, the Deutsche Welle reports that Yemen's President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi sought to resume his duties as president as he convened a meeting of the governors of Yemen's 6 southern provinces in the economic hub of Aden. A statement released by the president's office after the meeting also asserted Hadi's determination to reassume power. And finally, the New York Times reports that the Turkish army sent armored troops deep into Syria to recover the remains of a major historical figure and to evacuate the guards at the besieged tomb. The tomb of Süleyman Shah, grandfather of the founder of the Ottoman Empire, is 20 miles south of the Turkish border, but it has been considered Turkish territory under a 1921 treaty with France, which ruled Syria at the time. That was it for today. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching and bye for now.